So hello everyone, here is the Holodoctor, Mr. Robert Picardo, and today we're gonna talk Star Trek props.
All right.
So, you've probably held so many props in your life.
Yes. In fact, in the Voyager pilot, when my character was first activated, I think the first laugh I get is I ask Harry Kim for a tricorder, and he hands me just a regular tricorder, and I say very sternly, "Medical tricorder," and then he hands me a medical one. So I know I learned right then the difference. As an actor, I had to learn the difference between a regular tricorder, which does not have the additional sensor in the back that you take out. Because in a medical tricorder, you have to scan with the sensor and read the data in the tricorder. Whereas a regular tricorder, the sensor is built in, apparently. This is Star Trek, wisdom that I didn't know yet. It had to be explained to me in the moment because it was not only my first activation as an EMH, it was my first day shooting as an actor. So all of this had to be made clear.
I'll just check if I turn on the sound. Yeah, it's okay. So that actually answers my question because I brought two of these props that you're probably very familiar with.
Exactly. This is a quite a good replica, except it makes that annoying sound of a Star Trek tricorder. You can see, that it's supposedly we're reading data here. And if it were a regular tricorder and I was on a planet's surface, I would just be going like that and scanning, taking in all of the data of the environment and reading it on here. But if it's a medical tricorder, there would be an inset in the back so that the sensor device would fit in here. And we would take it out like that, open it up, and then I would scan you and go, oh, apparently you have absolutely no brain whatsoever. According to my scans here, you can see that you have nothing. You have a vacuum between your ears. Oh, wait a minute. Now I'm seeing it's a very small brain indeed. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was just kidding. I'm not picking on him in particular. I'm just trying to sound like my character. So this looks quite like the sensor from a medical tricorder in the Next Generation. I can't speak authoritatively for Deep Space Nine what Dr. Bashir would use. And this was from the first maybe 2 seasons of Voyager. Then this got much smaller, this device. Yeah, the sensor got a good deal smaller. The tricorder and the medical tricorder remained roughly the same, but the device that scanned got smaller. So this would have been early Voyager, this.
And a question that you probably get so many times, but I had to ask it, is did you keep any props?
Not props. They were very careful. They took the props right out of our hands at the end of every scene, certainly when we were near the end of shooting, because they have great value on the resale market. I don't know who sold them. I don't know if it was the studio or the prop department themselves. I did get my communicator badge from my last day of shooting, but it disappeared. I no longer have it. I got some set pieces when the show that most of them went for charity auction for the Pediatric AIDS Foundation, for the State Theater of California, which is the Pasadena Playhouse, and for other charities. So I really have nothing. Certainly don't have any original props at all. And I'm not just saying that so Paramount doesn't send, someone to my house. But I really don't have them.
That's really unfortunate because I saw that Kate Mulgrew, she kept the uniform from the last season, I think, the future one. So you didn't keep any uniform or anything?
Not uniform. I got a pair of boots. They gave me a pair of boots, but they're gone now. But that was it. My only wardrobe pieces that I recall are the communicator, the boots. Actually, and I don't know where it is, but there was one episode where I had a smoking jacket on Voyager. It was, I think, called Author, and the Doctor has written a book. And in the episode, he appears in a smoking jacket, speaking to the person who is playing the holonovel. Yeah. And I do believe that they gave me that piece of wardrobe. And the reason they did is I asked for it because I said, from my last TV series before Voyager, a Vietnam drama called China Beach, I had a smoking jacket because my character, who was a medical doctor, just like Voyager, was appearing in a show to entertain the troops. They were doing My Fair Lady, so he was playing Henry Higgins. So they made me a smoking jacket. So I said to them, I have a smoking jacket from my last show. May I have my smoking jacket from Voyager? And they gave it to me. And I believe that is still in my possession in storage. But I haven't, if it is, I haven't seen it in a very long time.
It'd be lovely to find.
I should look for it.
Definitely.
Because it's probably worth a lot of money.
It is. It is. And my question also is, like, you know, what was the feeling when what I learned, like, you weren't really a Trekkie before, or you didn't know Star Trek that much, but what was the feeling, you know, to walk on the set for the first time, you know, and also, you know, what was the feeling, you know, to leave it behind, you know, when you finished the series?
Well, my initial impression was just how real the sets felt, how solidly they were built, and how the sense of being in a real place was very convincing. And I loved working on the sickbay set. I loved the fact that the doctor's office was like a little bubble within the sickbay set, because I thought it was symbolic of my character being isolated because he was an artificial intelligence and he didn't feel initially as though he were a full-fledged member of the crew. So I thought that was sort of symbolized by the sitting in a bubble feeling of the Voyager sickbay. And for those of you who don't know this, when I appeared briefly in Star Trek First Contact, they just redressed our sickbay, changed the panels. I think they took my office out, or they didn't photograph my office, and to make it look different, to make it look like the Enterprise, the new Enterprise sickbay. So I had this feeling that the sets were very authentic and had a true sense of place. But I think one of the reasons that they like stage-trained actors in Star Trek is because the sets are big and open. You know, in a regular television drama, there's a tighter, more claustrophobic feeling of the sets. If someone is in their home or they're in their office, the sets are smaller in dimension, and there are different things that are blocking your body. In Star Trek, the bridge is a big open set. You see a lot of full body shots. So you have to know how to use your arms and it's not just a close-up medium the way other television shows are. Mm-hmm. You know, you watch The West Wing and, you know, sooner or later they're in close-up in most of the scenes. Yeah. Star Trek, there are more wide shots, so the actors have to be more trained in using their whole body. And that's just my own theory, and that became apparent to me by how big and open the sets are. They love wide shots because it's part of science fiction. Put the camera at a low angle, see these really cool, you know, ceiling pieces, and create that sense of a large space and an unfamiliar space for the audience from their understanding of present-day reality.
And for example, if you were using a new prop, you know, did the prop master came and show you how to do it, and who was that maybe? And if you would share something.
We called the new props the Blinkies of the week, or the new Blinky. So they would hand me the prop and they would show me where the secret button was to make it flash, or what it did, or whether there were two buttons that did two different things. So yes, I got a little lesson, but all it did really was blink. It never made any sound because they would add the sound in post-production. That's why this tricorder, you know, if any sounds that were made. I will let you in on one other piece of advice. The sound department loved me because I never made noise with the props while I was speaking, because they don't like that. In Star Trek, they want a clean voice track. They never want to hear. So I would never close a tricorder while I was speaking. I would always do it between words, like this. All right. Captain, my scans show that wait a minute, let me check that. Yes, my scans show that, and I would always make the noise of the prop or putting it down on the table, I would always do it between words. Now, it was not quite that artificial. I would say, well, I will have to analyze the data further, Captain, because so if you make the sound in between the words, they could cut it out, or they could, what they normally do is they would make a new sound that was smaller. They would not use that sound at all. So the prop department, I got a lot of respect for the fact, because some of the other actors would do it while they were talking, and that always messed. And it's mostly because Star Trek is dubbed into so many different languages.
Yeah, that's true.
That they wanted a clean voice track without any other sound elements from the scene, so that each one could be in a different layer. So they could just take the voice track out, replace it with the voice of whatever that country was. If they wanted to dub it into Czech, then they still had all the other elements in the soundtrack, even though when you took the voice out, you would still hear the sounds of it going down the table. You just wouldn't hear the voice.
It's my really most precious replica.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. You know, I can say Holodoctor broke it. It's fine.
I've broken it, and that makes it more valuable if I've broken it, because I'm set used.
Yeah, that's true. One really fast last question, because I really understood in the last few days when I got to know you that you really have a really deep knowledge of the episodes and everything about Star Trek. Like, I really think that you remember stuff. So, what was your most favorite episode or set that you visited? Or prop you worked with, sorry.
Well, or prop. You want to keep it prop related.
Prop or set, you know, which was your favorite and why?
Well, obviously I was in sickbay a lot. And I loved the biobeds when the clamshell came up. I always knew my dialogue, but on the days when I had something particularly hard to remember, I sometimes would hide the line on the clamshell. So if the camera's over here and the clamshell came up during the scene, then my lines could be written here. And I could look down and pretend I was analyzing the data and read the one expression that I had trouble remembering. But that was very rare with me. I was quite good. Some of the other actors, whose names will not be mentioned, used that a lot more than I did. So sickbay was fun. I loved engineering. I thought that was, I didn't get to play on the engineering set very much, but I thought that was a great set. And I have to say, if I had to pick one episode of all time that was my favorite, it would probably Tinker, Tenor, Doctor, Spy, in which the Doctor changes his programming so he can daydream, and then he can't stop fantasizing.
That was great.
And then runner-up, Someone to Watch Over Me, the romantic one where I fall in love with Seven of Nine secretly. And then Latent Image, a dramatic one where the Doctor's program starts to break down because he thinks he's violated his Hippocratic oath. So those are probably my three that stand out the most.
Bob, thank you very much.
Sure, my pleasure.
Thank you very much. And we'll hopefully see you again.
All right. And wait a minute, one more moment.